Sri Prabhupada Jivanamritam Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. So the Guru Maharaj gives us the words of so many different great Vaishnavas. We can understand that, you know, this type of depth of realization is going on in so many places because this is reality and people are tapping into it, and it's, you know, the same kind of experience, but it's a Chintya Bheda. It's also different. They have a different angle of vision, a beautiful, different type of relationship, and these pure Vaishnavas express that. Okay, so next, chapter 4, continuing, Bhakta Vachan Amritam. Who knows what that means? Bhakta Vachan Amritam.
The nectar of the devotees?
Words of nectar from the devotees. Vachan Amritam, words of nectar, Sri Bhakta from the Bhaktas. Pratikulya Vivarjanam. Who knows? Pratikula Vivarjanam.
Accepting the favorable? No.
Rejecting the unfavorable. Anakulyasya Sankalpa, accepting the favorable. We just did that chapter. Pratikulya Vivarjanam, rejecting the unfavorable. Okay, so Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives us an introductory sloka, full Sanskrit sloka. The principle to reject everything opposed to the service of the Lord and his devotee, and similarly abstain from everything opposed to the attitude of surrender, is known as pratikulya vivarjanam, rejection of the unfavorable. So everything directly opposed and everything that gives blockage to the attitude of surrender. Bhagavad Bhaktayor Bhakte Prapate Pratikulake Vivarjatve Nishchaya Prati Kulya Varjanam Uchyate. Kulya Varjanam Uchyate. Nishchaya Prati Prapata Pratikulakshe. Everything that blocks prapata, surrender, and everything that blocks bhakti, we want to try to avoid. So Guru Maharaj is opening the chapter telling us both things. What obstructs our service? Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so that's the introduction by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and the first shloka, number 2, is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and the introductory line from Srila Guru Maharaj, Pratikulya Varjana Sankalpa Darshaha. The ideal in the resolve to reject the unfavorable. The ideal in the resolve to reject the unfavorable. Sri Sri Bhagavatas Chaitanya Chandrasya. O Lord of the universe, I have no desire for wealth or worldly promotion, nor do I desire wife, family, and society, nor do I aspire for Vedic religiosity or mundane scholarship. The only aspiration in my heart is that in every birth I may have unmotivated devotion for you. So Shikshastakam, this is which number of Shikshastakam is this?
What's this?
Third? Na Dhanam Na Janam Na Sundarim.
It's like 4th, I think.
3 or 4, yeah, okay.
Yeah. 3 is Janada Pisage.
Oh, right, yeah, 4.
Fourth.
Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vajagisha kamaye mama janmana jamanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahoitu ki twai. Shri Shri Bhagavatas Chaitanya Chandrasya, from the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Chandra. Okay, next. We have introduction by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. This is number 3 in the chapter, Rejection of the Unfavorable, the Words from the Devotees. Okay. A similar expression of the same ideal. Trapi tatayava. So this is from Kulishekar Maharaj. O Lord, I have no faith in religiosity, economic development, or sense enjoyment. May all these things come to pass as they are ordained according to my previous karma. But my earnest prayer is that birth after birth, I may have unflinching devotion to your lotus feet. Kulishekar Maharaj, a great Alwar. How many Alwars were there? 10? I think so. 10 Alwars. Anyway, Kulishekar Maharaj was one of them, and they were all coming before Ramanujacharya, and they spoke the local languages, but also composed in Sanskrit. This is a Sanskrit composition by Kulishekar Maharaj, who's a great king, and he's declaring his position as having no feeling of faith towards material activities. So that's interesting how he uses the word faith. Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives us this in his translation. Faith in religiosity, economic development, or sense enjoyment. So everyone is motivated by faith, and we're trying to develop our motivation of faith towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead in our eternal position as servants. And that's the natural position. That's why everyone in the universe has to act according to faith. No one can fully know. This we know. And this everyone knows who's a little developed in their intelligence. They know they don't know everything. And so all they can do is act according to faith, according to their particular position in the modes of material nature, and also in their development of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everyone is going on in that way. They have faith in the shelter of their house and their family and their wife and their husband and so many things like that. They have faith in that they'll get fulfillment through sense gratification. They have faith that if they go to church on Sundays, they'll be all right. They have faith that if they work hard in their job, they'll progress and become materially safe and situated. Everyone has faith. Everyone is driven by faith. And what is the product of that faith? Service. You have to serve. Everybody serves someone. No matter who they are, no matter where they are, they're subordinate and they render service. Because it's the eternal nature of the self, the soul, is to surrender. So here Kulishekar Maharaj says that all these things are coming to me according to my previous karma, good or bad, with connection with the modes of nature or not connection. It doesn't matter. The reality is that I want to be unalloyed in my service to you. What's happening in the realms of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification are coming to me according to my karma, and I'm really not interested in them, even though they're there. He's looking to the shelter of his unmotivated serving attitude. So the material world is going on. This is our situation. Where the material world is going on, our karma is coming and going. There's no stopping it because, we know from Bhagavad Gita that we're under the control of the illusory energy, who is Krishna's energy. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So these things are going on, and we have to realize that and try to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in the midst of our going on in the balancing of our existence in this world. So Guru Maharaj has given us some indication that we have in terms of our interaction with devotees and in terms of our interaction with our karma. We have relative considerations and absolute considerations. And the relative considerations are there, but they have to be properly prioritized so that the absolute consideration predominates. And everyone's involved in a balancing act. It's not easy. But we have to try to balance things in such a way so that we can go on in our service nicely and strive towards the goal of unmotivated service. That's our ideal. We want to carry that ideal in our heart and go forward as best we can, pushing towards that ideal. So Kulashekar Maharaj is praying like that. So next we have prayers by the demigods. We'll do one more.
Sorry. So faith also for material things, or there is another?
Well, it's a perverted reflection of Shraddha. So, but because it's part of the fabric of reality, it has to be in the reflection also. So everybody's got faith. The scientists who don't believe in God, they have faith in their theories. Even if they won't admit it, they don't know everything. They have to have faith that what they're concluding and thinking is correct. And so, based on that faith, they build an illusion that they know what the truth is. But then the truth is changing every 5 or 10 years, if not faster than that. The theories that they had in the 90s when I was in university are now completely different, particularly in physics and biology, like Maharaj was telling us. The walls of their material shelter are collapsing, and their faith in material conclusions is being shaken by the intrusion of the beginning reality of transcendental life, like Shanta Maharaj was showing us. Those theories are all based on a denial of consciousness, and that consciousness is the predominant element in existence. And they can't ultimately deny it. And the more they probe and the more they penetrate, hopefully, the more they're going to come to the right conclusions. And that's the idea of Shanta Maharaj's engagement, is to try to direct these people in such a way as to give them a realization of the eternal nature of faith and service, that it's like imbued in the structure of the universe. This is his objective and ideal. And Srila Prabhupada very much stressed that. And Srila Govinda Maharaj welcomed them. Okay. So next, we'll do one more. Everything devoid of a relationship with Lord Hari should be rejected. Hari sambandha hinam sarvam eva varjaniyam. Varjaniyam, rejected. Hari sambandha, relationship with the Lord. Hinam, rejected. Hinam sarvam, that's everything. All those things, Hari sambandha hinam, that are empty of any relationship with the Lord, we reject them. Then the demigods are praying. I don't know if this is from Bhagavatam or, yeah, it's definitely Sanskrit. One should not reside wherever the river of nectarine tidings of Krishna does not flow, wherever Krishna's surrendered devotees cannot be found, and wherever the grand festival of chanting Krishna's holy name is not conducted, even if it is heaven. Prayers by the demigods. The devatas, deva stato. So the demigods are praying. It doesn't matter where we are, even if we're in heaven, let there be these surrounded by the devotees. Let me be exposed to the teachings, the flow of the teachings of transcendental existence in service to Krishna. And let me be surrounded by the, what do they say, the grand festival of the chanting of the holy names. That's what we want. We don't care if it's heaven or hell. This is the feeling of the Vaishnavas, that, wherever Krishna wants to send me, I'll go. Whatever he wants my external material body and mind to go through, I'll go through it, but still I'll remain as his servant. This is, the demigods are praying like this, and this is the standard that Srila Guru Maharaj is, indicating to us. So I'll read the Sanskrit. Na yatra Vaikuntha kata sudha paga na sadhavo bhagavatas tad asrayaha na yatra yagesa mukha mahotsavaha. Aha. Suresha loko pi na vai su savyatatam. So wherever that grand festival is, let me be there. Wherever that service is, let me be there. Wherever the devotees, the sadhus, the sadhavo bhagavatas, where they are, let me ashrayaha, let me take shelter of them. And Vaikuntha kata, so that kind of kata, talking about the service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let me be in those places. The demigods are praying, so this is our indication. We may go wherever. In next life, we may be born in this plane, we may be born in a lower plane, we may be born in a higher plane, but we want to be in a position to serve the Lord from our birth. And this is how I'm trying to remember and pray. And it's for everyone, because the close is coming. However young we are, the close could come. We never know. So to hear this and to keep this kind of prayer in our consciousness is the blessing of Srila Guru Maharaj in his Prabhupada Jivanamritam. What is the nature of the nectar of the surrendered soul? We can hear it and we can begin to feel it and practice it and eventually be it. This is our fortune and our, the objective we're trying to put forward in our consciousness. Shri Shri Prabhupada Jivanamritam ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay. So now we're on Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4. And, okay, Kaviraj Goswami is talking about the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how Krishna descends generally through Vishnu, but in this case he's descending directly. And now he's beginning to talk about the reasons for his descent. And these are texts 15 and 16, chapter 4. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. He wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus he is known as supremely jubilant and the most merciful of all. So Srila Prabhupada talks about when Krishna appeared earlier at the end of the last yuga, he appeared for killing the demons and presenting his pastimes in Vrindavan so that the world can know that there's an alternative reality to the distorted pastimes of the temporary world. It's important for this to be known, because otherwise people do conclude that, well, if there's no reciprocal love up there, at least I'll get it down here. Or they come to some stupid conclusion that, I am part of God who's descended to this plane to experience individuality, which is illusion. But anyway, let me enjoy that illusion for the time being. So they have all kinds of distorted understandings that just aren't true. So Krishna descends to show that there's reality behind whatever we feel in this world. There's a real experience in the transcendental world, and that's where we should be pointing ourselves. So Krishna showed this, and he outlined his philosophy on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the discussion with Arjuna. But then now here Mahaprabhu is descending to present the fulfillment of that previous descent. He's gonna present the whole process of devotional life and development of spontaneous love and attraction. This is Mahaprabhu is gracefully doing this, while simultaneously through that presentation and in the final stages of his life, through constantly hearing about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, Mahaprabhu will try to taste and actually taste the feeling of the love of Srimati Radharani. These are the two things. It is said in the Vedas, Raso Vai Saha. The absolute truth is the reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of loving sentiments. Raso Vai Saha. Everything comes down to rasa. Everything comes down to taste. And the material world is driven by taste of experience on this plane. And the spiritual world is driven by taste of experience on that plane. And the difference is consciousness. We have to go through the transformation of consciousness from attachment to this plane through the process of bhakti and develop attachment for that plane. And Krishna is so kind, he lets us develop according to our nature and according to our ability to surrender. And this all comes by the grace of Sri Guru. Sri Guru is essential in this process. Without Sri Guru, there is no practices. And without Sri Guru, there is no surrender. Without Sri Guru, there is no understanding that Krishna is our friend in the environment. Sri Guru is the key to all of our experiences. And we have to meditate like that and remember like that only by the grace of Sri Guru can I engage in actual devotional service. Otherwise, my practices are empty. It's a fact. This is not a mechanical process. Prabhupada has said it repeatedly. So is Srila Guru Maharaj, so is Srila Govinda Maharaj. It's not, we're not engaged in mechanics. If we do this, and this, it'll produce that. It doesn't work like that. We are engaged in devotional life that has practices that are designed to develop internal surrender, which is the whole object of the thing. And that internal surrender is only possible by the transcendental, heart-centered transference of the feeling of rasa, love and affection being given to us by the grace of Sri Guru. you know, of course, ultimately it does come from Krishna, and in our case, Srimati Radharani, who's the perfection of all moods of rasas, all moods of loving transcendental service. So, Rasa-Vaisa, everyone in this world is looking for rasa, but all their experiences for rasa, looking for rasa, are frustrated because the world is temporary. But it looks very real, but it's not. And that lesson we have to learn by experiencing the higher reality of the transcendental world. And that the key to that, you know, the possessor of the key who can open the door to that plane of existence is Sri Guru, and only Sri Guru. So Sri Guru is essential. You know, it's not as though Sri Guru is a part of the process. Sri Guru is everything. This is the clarity that we have gotten by the grace of Srila Guru Maharaj, and which we can see everywhere in Srila Prabhupada's books now that we've been woken up to that idea. So, yeah, whoever your guru is, if he's, you know, bona fide, surrendered, whether he has 2 feet on the ground, 1 foot in the ground, 1 foot in the sky, both feet in the sky, it doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is your degree of surrender and your connection with that genuine guru. And that, you know, that's it. He gives you direction, you follow that, and based on that following, you experience rasa. You begin to feel it, and by that you become detached from the temporary plane. He's also causelessly merciful, and he wants to bestow upon us the privilege of raga bhakti. Thus he appeared in his own internal energy. He was not forced to appear by any extraneous force. In other words, it's not as though, because he's the Yuga avatar, that he has to descend based on the, you know, the functions of time and the universe and all this kind of stuff. But he comes because he wants to. And he gives us a key to the experience of raga bhakti, pure, you know, surrendered service, which develops through the process of sadhana bhakti. And through sadhana bhakti, surrender to Sri Guru, we come to the point of anartha nivritti. We're freed from that. We leave behind it, and then nishta. We live in a life of freedom and balance, and then we begin to develop a taste, ruchi, and then asakti, which is you know, a beginning development of our transcendental relation, and then bhava, our beginning experience of actual raga bhakti. So we look forward to that, we worship that objective, but we realize clearly, you know, by the grace of our gurus, that we are quite a ways from there. And we're not going to jump there just because we're coming to the end of our life or something. That, you know, it doesn't work like that. You can't jump over basically your guru. You can't jump over Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You know, Prabhupada would slap you. What to speak of Srila Sridhar Maharaj? Yes.
I got a little question on the stages of devotional service.
Yeah.
If one's like situated on a lower platform, can they get like a taste of a higher platform even while situated on a lower platform? Like if one's on Bhajana Kriya or Sadhusanga, they can get a taste of the higher stages as well, or?
I mean, what comes through to us is, you know, the transcendental stream of the higher reality of you know, pure love and pure service. And we begin to experience a little bit of it within the context of our both our previous experience and also our, awakening connection with the Lord. I've not read anywhere that you begin to feel your relationship in the early stages. Have you seen it in Srila Prabhupada's books? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Have you seen it anywhere? No, I don't think so. You begin to feel something of what it is to be a servant. And, then you come to the stage of clearing. Like Srila Prabhupada said, I remember reading it and thinking, oh yeah, that the Majjhima Adhikari is the clearing stage. We're clearing away all the clutter. And that has to be done. And if you don't get done in this life, it's not as though poof, you go back to Godhead. I mean, it's just, a ridiculous conclusion. We clear, we leave anartha nivritti, we come to that stage, and it's given by Rupa Goswami. And this is the analysis that we have received from our beloved gurus that has come down from the clear interpretation of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and finally Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So anybody's analysis of or translation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talking about rasa, the rasika, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that supposedly expands on the teachings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, have to be rejected. Because Saraswati Thakur perfectly well knows all these things, and he perfectly well knows what to give his disciples, who are Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Keshavan Maharaj and Srila Madhava Maharaj, and all these, high devotees who produced other high devotees, and, then we're somewhere way below there. So what to speak of us? If Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj aren't touching those things, or maybe beginning to touch upon them a little bit, what to speak of us? Who are we to say, oh, I will read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and come to my own conclusions, or come to the conclusions of, some disciple of a disciple of a disciple who wants to say that he's giving more than Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. We just totally reject that. We have to. If you don't do that, you fall into the class of aparadhi, and that's really dangerous. And what can I say? It's true. And what happens to aparadhis? They follow the scent of distorted bhava and all this stuff, and they imagine that they're like entering into some kind of rasa in this stage without complete purification. And that's not according to the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami or any of our gurus, even though they've indicated these things for our understanding. It has to be ground into us that there's a transcendental alternative to what we experience in this world. If we don't know about that and begin to feel that, then then we won't be able to escape. We won't be able to leave this behind. We won't be able to develop love of God without knowing something of the experiences of love of God. But as far as we understand and have read and also experienced by our attempts at surrender to our gurus, that these particular rasas and exchanges with Krishna in different moods, as a friend, as a servant, as a cow, as a parent, as a lover, all these things come as you develop upwards through the stages of bhava, which comes after the beginning developments of attachment to a particular type of service in asakti. And before that, the beginning of development of taste, real taste for an actual position of service, ruchi. And before that, nishta, having become freed from all material attachments, one begins on the path of developing actual, real, transcendental taste. And then before that, anartha nivritti, one is freed from all material attachment. So, figure that if you're still attached to the temporary world, you're not getting any bhava. Sorry, but it ain't true. So Ragavakti is something that's very high. We worship it, and we see it as it is manifested on this plane by the great devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Are they showing, are they putting on clothes and dancing or something? No. Are they saying, oh, I'm experiencing bhav? Have our gurus ever said that? So what are we doing? I was shocked to see some devotees that I know that are serious and sincere talking about bhav. It's just, too much. Okay. Text 17. All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. Aishvarya jnaneti sabha jagat misrita. Aishvarya stila preme nahi mora prita. Prita, it doesn't give pleasure to me. Nahi mora mai. It doesn't give pleasure to me, that kind of love that is Aishvarya stila. The position is weakened by Aishvarya, by majesty. And the whole universe, everyone is thinking God is supreme, God is great, and this is the kind of the basis of the Western religious conceptions of God. He's the one who's like seated on the throne. He's creating the universe. He's doing, judging, and he's like unknowable, inconceivable, but he's the judge, and he's the creator, and he's very great, very terrible. The Old Testament says that. He's a terrible God. Which, karma comes as a result of our own activities. That Krishna allows us to get into trouble because the nature of his reality has to do with love that's voluntary. We can't say it's because he's terrible. He gives us a dream to be in, and crappy things happen. And that's what's going on. And it is, in many ways it is terrible. But it's not reality. And this we have to pointedly understand, that we don't need to protest against wars, or protest against pollution, or protest against even cow slaughter and stuff like that. These things are going on, but what we are doing is unique. It's something that will, if people hear it, will bring about a solution to all these problems, because all the problems are not based on misdirection due to bad political leadership, or misdirection due to living in a society motivated by capitalistic acquisition. Ideally thinking, oh, we should live in a society where everyone's together and taking only what they need and giving what they can. That's, you know, everybody, when you're young, you dream of that ideal. And what is that? That's the spiritual world. And, you know, so Srila Prabhupada said, they want the kingdom of God without God. That's what they're dreaming of. They're projecting their inner instincts about reality onto a world where there's no surrender. So they don't want to surrender, but they want the experience of what reality is. This is the illusion of the material world. So they're pushing politics and so many different things, thinking that this is going to help. But, you know, it won't help. And even within our society and within Krishna consciousness itself, we're not interested in, you know, arguments about, you know, the nature and the structure of things, or, you know, the philosophical understandings, even. You know, we've been given these things by our gurus. We have to live on the platform of consciousness and make that as our full objective. And you're not going to develop in consciousness through argument. We already know that by the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, arguing one way and then arguing the other way and winning both times. Amongst, you know, scholars that are talking spiritual things. He's juggling. And what is Shtitadhira Muni? Someone who can argue all different sides of one argument, back and forth. So there's so many different sides and different understandings that can be perceived according to our the way in which we perceive the world. But we have to know that our perception is mixed. And what we're looking for is not a structural solution. What we're looking for is is internal surrender of ourselves. And that's the main thing. The big worry about what other person did, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, is just, you know, you're just being tricked by the illusory energy, actually. If we just have this structure, then everything will become fantastic. If we just did this, then everyone will take to Krishna consciousness. Let's build that, let's do this. You know, I mean, Srila Prabhupada did want things to be developed in such a way so that people would be attracted to Krishna consciousness. But that wasn't, you know, that was only the external structure of things. The real thing was his essential Krishna consciousness. And that's the main thing that has to be developed. That's like the real thing. And the emphasis must be there. Even in, how can I say it? Living within a less structured environment. This is what our gurus have given us in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. We can understand that the only salvation for us is surrender, and the only one who can help us surrender is Sri Guru, and that's our business. And everything that aids that, like we're reading here, everything that aids that we accept, everything that doesn't aid that we reject. And we try to understand which is which with sincerity, and we go off in one direction, and sometimes we're proven wrong. We think, oh, you know, I need this to balance my service, and then slap. You know, you're wrong. You went off. And Krishna always takes care of us in that way. We can't like build a structure that's going to protect you. You have to surrender internally. That's the point. Everything is based on that reality. So Srila Govinda Maharaj gave us such a clear picture of, you know, his beloved, like, second father, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that when Srila Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my heart, he didn't mean that my heart is all these different things that are going on in buildings and committees and big stacks of paper about organization and all this stuff. He didn't mean that. He meant that the reality of ISKCON is there in his surrendered heart. That's what the real ISKCON is. It doesn't have anything to do with structures. I told this story before, didn't I? I'll say it again. Before I took sannyas, maybe a couple of years, I was at Krishna Balaram. I was staying in our Vrindavan temple. I still had my business, so I was, you know, buying stuff in Loy Bazaar in spite of the fact that we're not supposed to. I did it because it's my business, and I think I asked Srila Govinda Maharaj, I forget. But anyway, I'm walking to the restaurant at Krishna Balaram's, and these two ladies come walking along, and they see me, and they're, "Whoa, Sri Govinda, you've come back." And I looked at him and said, "Didi, I never left. I've always been here. And where is that? ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada's heart. You know, it's the feeling of, you know, trying to surrender to Sri Guru. That's what it is. And we can't lose sight of that. And by the grace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj, we have some focus on, you know, where Srila Prabhupada pushed us. And it's true. He was, you know, pushing us forward in Krishna consciousness. I can't remember. I'm thinking of some quotation about kind of how he presented Krishna consciousness in such a way as to bring us in without, was it? If I were to tell you, if I told you what Krishna consciousness is, you wouldn't come, something like that. But you know, sorry, I can't directly quote it, so maybe I shouldn't say it. But anyway, that's like the spirit. You know, we've come into Krishna consciousness, and now we know the beginning is, you know, all bliss and happiness and wonder, and we get a taste, we get the sample, and then after we get the sample, we have to pay. And, you know, now we're learning to pay. That's the reality of you know, the mission and the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. Now we're learning how to pay. And we realize that it's, you know, it's a big price. But Srila Prabhupada has given us so much of a taste that we're willing to pay it. So we have so much debt to that, you know, beloved Grand Master, without whom none of us would be here. You know, so to include, not directly in the parampara, because he's not an parampara, but to include Srila Prabhupada, you know, like in the Jai prayers, you know, there along with Narottam Das and Shamananda, Srinivas, Vrindavan Das Thakur, Haridas Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj. These are all people not in our line. I don't think Kaviraj Goswami is not in the line, is he? I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, they're there, you know, so what to speak of the one who's given us, you know, entry to all those personalities. And it's just a fact. And, you know, I've met people indirectly in our mission that have, you know, say things like, "Oh, we shouldn't quote from Srila Prabhupada because, you know, he's not in our line." And, you know, it just doesn't have any weight. It doesn't have any substance, because you heard Srila Govinda Maharaj quoting from Srila Prabhupada. We heard Srila Sridhar Maharaj glorifying Srila Prabhupada, you know, up and down.
Guru Maharaj, a quote from Hegel, if it's supported
Yeah,
consciousness.
right, there you go. Yeah, so, you know, quoting from Hegel and the English poets.
Yes. Yes.
What was that poem about?
Gray's Elegy.
Yeah, Gray. Yeah.
Others.
Yeah, the Graveyard Elegy. Yeah. So, yeah, Krishna consciousness is dependent on the consciousness. That's it. Krishna consciousness. That's what it's about. Our individual consciousness surrendering, and by that surrender, developing capability to convey an experience of what that surrender is. You know, to become a channel for your guru. And, you know, give the experience of this, which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted. Okay, so anyway, Kaviraj Goswami is ending just talking about the Narayan conception of the Lord. But he's saying, Krishna is saying, I'm not satisfied with that. I'll do one more. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Amare Ishvara Mane Apanake Hina Tara Preme Vasha Amina Hoy Adina. Adina, subservient. Nahi. Nahi ha, I am not subservient. Ami hai nahi, yeah. Ami na hai, I am not adina, I'm not subservient to that person. And what is he indicating? That he's looking for those who love him beyond the notion of, oh, he's very great, I'm very small, I have to serve. That's the beginning. But the real thing that Mahaprabhu is giving is a love that has to do with feeling of Krishna as the ultimate personality. And that feeling of Krishna as the ultimate personality actually transcends the feeling of seeing him as the great Lord. There's more there than that. Of course, we haven't developed either one of those, so they're both, you know, they're both out of our reach. But this is what Kaviraj Goswami is telling us. There's a difference, and this is what Mahaprabhu is giving to us. There's a transcendental world. Krishna descended and showed that, and we have the opportunity to go past Vaikuntha by the grace of our gurus and enter into the higher plane of existence. And this is all, you know, giving us a glorious glimpse of our future. You know, a happy, shining objective that we can keep in our consciousness as we, you know, as we struggle through the process of surrender. You know, it must be so. It must be like that. We have to confront our conditioning, confront our attachments, and work to free ourselves from them. And that's only possible by, you know, just increasingly surrendering to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, and by the grace of Sri Guru Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Giriraj Ju, and Radha Shama Sundar, and all these descended forms of the personality of Godhead come to bless us and help us in our surrender. So all the activities, when we bow down and do Dandavat, it has to do with developing our surrender. And as we, as we try to progress, we try to become more and more conscious of what we're actually doing. That, you know, there's a meaning behind every word of the Maha Mantra in every beat of the japa. You know, it's not to be rushed through. It's to be like, we need quality, not quantity. If we can do, you know, I forget the quote. You know, one pure Hare Krishna is, you know, beyond lacks of you know, distracted Hare Krishnas. So, you know, focus on the Dandavat. Focus on the bead that you're holding. And the name, like Srila Prabhupada told us, when you channel those beads, a gopi is dancing around Krishna. Whatever that means. But he told us that. And so, I have no idea, but somehow or other, something real is happening. And we have to, like, somehow or other snap out of it and, you know, get with the program. And, you know, it means, like, put our hearts into it. And, you know, try to feel what we're doing as reality. This feeling that we have now of some attachment to our guru, you know, some attachment to the name, some attachment to reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is, you know, this is reality. We're starting to feel it. And, you know, we have to just realize that every step in this program is a deep blessing. We're just scratching the surface. Like Gurudev used to say, they're saying koti koti dandavat, but I cannot even get one dandavat. Meaning, you know, dandavat, you fall down like a stick, really. You know, it's not just emotion or, you know, something that you just do because, well, that's what you do at that time and place. It's, you know, it's the way things are done. No, it's like, this is an expression of my attempt to surrender. Please help me to surrender. You know, consciousness, Krishna consciousness is our only objective. And that, you know, that's a mouthful. But it's, you know, it's a fact. And we have to, you know, try to make that a part of our life, a very real part of our life, and work in such a way so that it will become our full life of positive and progressive immortality. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Acharya Brinda ki jai. Shri Vaishnava Brinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.